Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first in-person 10-minute chat. Today we have with us Laasya.
Yes.
You're a second-year computer science student at UCL, and yeah, how's your study going? How's everything?
It's good. I'm really enjoying it this year, especially because we've moved back to in-person, so that's a lot nicer than the online sort of course we had last year. But yeah, meeting a lot of amazing people, including you guys today. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
That's great. What made you want to study computer science in the first place?
So before I applied to university to study a specific degree, I was just into math and problem solving. So I quite liked math, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do with it. So I didn't know what I wanted to do beyond math. And I think it's just the idea of having a lot of math, having a lot of logic and problem solving, but also taking those and applying them to cool problems.
Yeah.
Attracted me to computer science. And yeah, so once I was in computer science, there was really no looking back. But it took a while to get there, for sure.
Is there any area in computer science specifically that you're looking to pursue?
Yeah, so right now there is. We'll see if that changes in the future. But I'm quite interested in any application of computer science to healthcare. So yes, we were talking about this earlier. It's so cool that you guys do that. But yeah. So I'm part of the MedTech Society at UCL. I've been a part of it for 2 years now. So it's amazing because it gives me the opportunity to meet a lot of cool people that are passionate about MedTech, which I found isn't generally as high as other industries like finance, for example. So it's quite nice to have that, tight-knit community where everyone's into medicine and applying technology to help improve medicine.
That's lovely. That's what we do.
Yeah,
that's what we were just talking about.
That's so cool.
Oh, nice.
I was talking about how I'd heard of the center before and how it was a center for medical image computing, and I'd always wanted to visit, so it's really cool that...
Yeah, we can show you around.
Oh, I'd love that. That's so cool. Yeah.
That's good.
That's nice.
That's so interesting, and as I was saying actually before the interview, it's just really impressive that you have such a clear idea of what you want to do.
I mean, I think I have a clear idea now. I had, throughout high school and even right before I started university, I was very confused. And I think when you are confused, you sort of think you will never figure it out, but then one day it sort of clicks eventually.
Well, that's promising because I haven't figured it out yet.
One day, maybe it changes. For me, I had it very clear, and now I'm kind of going maybe back and see if I can maybe going more.
Could you dance that for us? What you just did?
I was like this. I was flowing. I had and then now I'm stepping out of that wave. Maybe. Do you want me to step out of the wave?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Pull like this. Yeah. Okay, that was horrible. The things you make me do. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
No. It's one of the things we were actually thinking about the other day, is we were discussing how when we were undergraduates, there weren't very many women on our courses. So we didn't do computer science undergraduate, but we did STEM. And STEM's notorious for having very few women. But we were wondering what your experience of that was.
Yeah. So I think the ratio is still not 1:1. So even in our cohort, I think there's 30 or so women, and then there's 150 students in total. So it's still quite imbalanced. But one thing I would say is there's definitely a lot more awareness about the imbalance than there was before. So by no means is the problem fixed, but people are aware of the problem. So that's one step in the right direction, I guess. But because there's not so many of us, I think the sort of women in CS that I've interacted with, I've been lucky to form very good relationships with.
Yeah.
Simply because we're like, there is only a handful of us. Like, we have to, stick together, stand up for each other. And some of like my closest friends are women in CS, and they're incredible.
Oh, that's
Lovely.
lovely. That's
Yeah.
really nice.
It's nice that there is a little bit more awareness and like people are talking more about it. I slowly, like little things in day to day kind of university life that made me feel like kind of like less
Like
just for being a
small
woman.
bits of everyday sexism.
Exactly.
It was like that could be quite prevalent instead.
And like a small everyday sexisms like this can do make an impact. I feel like
Definitely.
Do you feel that? In
I
yours?
think so. One thing I would say is, I don't feel, or at least in my specific experience, there hasn't been as much sort of direct sexism. But I think because of the way it has been, and the stories I've heard from friends, or people that have graduated from UCL, stuff like that, I think although it's not like an external factor that's affecting me every single day, it's at the back of my mind. So whenever I do a project, I'm sort of like, okay, I want to make sure I am contributing, and I want to make sure sort of no one can say, oh, she didn't do enough.
Yes.
So I try to do as much as I possibly can. And I do think that if I hadn't heard stories like this before, maybe I wouldn't think about this as much.
Yeah.
But that being said, definitely there have been experiences where you can tell that they're treating you slightly differently because of your gender, and I'm not a big fan of that. But although it's hard, I just try not to think about it because it's not really in my control, and I just try to do what I can. But then there have definitely been those sessions where there's like 6 or 7 like girls in CS. We just sit down and we're like, right, like, oh, this happened and that happened, and it's very therapeutic because everyone's sort of speaking about their common experiences, and we're all like, yeah, like, we're strong women, like, we got this. So that's been nice, having that community again.
Yeah, I think that's great that you have such a supportive environment.
I think talking about it is one of the first things that maybe we can do, like just speak up, because many times, like, I didn't tell anybody about these experiences when I was in school because it wasn't so, I just said, like, there wasn't so much awareness.
Exactly, and you don't want to be that person that's complaining either. Exactly. So I can get that to some extent, yeah.
I think it's also interesting what you were saying about changing our behaviours to kind of counteract the sexism we encounter. So one thing a lot of women do, and I definitely do it myself, is like softening the language we use, especially things like emails and presentations.
Yeah.
So rather than saying like, I know this, or you're wrong about this, we'll say like,
I think
maybe
this might
this might be the case.
I think there's been a lot of awareness about like email syntax, especially in the recent days. So I've seen a lot of like videos on social media where they're like changing my email syntax to sound like a confident woman, and then there's just like a cut to like a woman that's like trembling because now she's changed all of the syntax. So I've tried to incorporate some of that. So instead of going like, I think this would be a really good addition, I tried to say stuff like, this is a good addition.
Yeah.
And it's hard,
It is hard.
but I try. I can imagine like the gender imbalance is probably much larger for you guys, especially at the PhD level.
It gets worse and worse. So
yeah, exactly.
You see, actually it's not too bad normally at PhD level, there's normally quite a lot of women.
Yeah.
And as you get to postdoc positions, it goes down. By the time you get to professors, it's
1 or 2.
Yeah.
And this is seen across STEM, but I mean, you can see it even within the Centre for Medical Image Computing, which isn't a criticism of the department. I think the EDI is actually doing pretty good things.
It's just
to try
a representation of
it, but it's
the
a representation
historical
of the wider situation.
Yeah. Do you think like UCL can, or like an institution like UCL can do, what do you think an institution like UCL could do to kind of like improve this women representation?
So I've heard of the Athena Swan Committee. I'm sure you guys have as well, and they're focused on improving, empowering women and improving the gender imbalance, I think, across universities in the UK. So I have a really cool friend that's like part of their committee, and we had like these set of meetings across the summer where they sort of spoke to any interested computer science students and they're like, what can we do? And I thought that was really cool because that's the first time I've seen like a proper formal agency tackle a problem like this. So it's cool that it's not just like a conversation, but someone's actually working to fix it.
Yeah.
And we also set up a computer science society this year. So I was a part of the team that was helping build that up, and I think one of our core sort of aims was EDI, not in just in like the women and gender minorities bit, but also like the ethnic minorities, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think there is stuff that's being done, which is good, but then obviously we have a long way to go. But it's cool to see that, because when I was in high school, I'd never known of stuff like Athena Swan to improve gender imbalance. So it's quite cool, but I guess it's also a matter of how many mindsets are you actually changing.
Yeah.
And I think the main thing we sort of discussed over the summer was that women are aware of the issue and women know of the issue. So it's hard. You can hold like empowerment sessions, but you're not going to get much change if you bring in a group of women because they know what the issue is. It's sort of the others that you need to bring in and empower. But
Yeah.
That's so true. So many women like
spot on, actually. Yeah, because I feel like most, not all women, share these opinions. I say all women, maybe that's wrong, but I mean, you'll meet a lot of women in your office, your workplace, or in your course who will share these opinions, but I don't think it's a majority necessarily amongst other members.
Yeah. I think we're all doing our work, like our part of the work, and I think it's time for like men also to do the work themselves as well.
Begin the conversation, essentially.
Yes.
I think it's very important. That's very important point.
Yeah. Well, it's been great talking to you, Laasya, today, and you, Mar, as well. It sounds like you've got such a clear idea of what you want to do, and it's so exciting that you want to do medical image computing. Yeah. So thank you for talking to us about that and talking to us about feminism.
Wonderful building. Yeah.
No, it was great.
Yeah, it was a lovely chat. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bye.
Awesome. Oh.